Great job! You found the right channel to learn how to become a smarter sports bettor. In this upload, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 football betting hacks that you need to know. Since knowledge is power, let's crack on. We're just about to enter the last 10 games of the season in most European leagues. So do you know what that means? It means more goals can be expected. So if we take the EPL over the past 10 seasons, the first 28 games ended with 2.68 goals average. And over the next 10 games, the final 10 games of the season, that went up to 2.93 goals. If we look at La Liga, it went from 2.48 goals to 2.72 goals in the last 10 games. We can also do Serie A, La Ligue in France. It's roughly 7 to 10% goal increase expected. Now, the reasons for this are quite clear, right? First of all, the weather's improving. So as the weather gets warmer, there's more goals expected. Number 2 is, as you really sort of come into the sort of last 4 or 5 games in particular, some of the matches are meaningless, right? Which means more open play. And also, you've got the opposite, haven't you? Where teams are highly motivated because they've got to win, for championships or probably getting through to the European competitions. So bear that in mind. Since we're only interested in the betting, let's put this in some type of perspective. And what we're going to use is the Since Win Poisson calculator. And you will see if we use those EPL expected goals, the 2.68 comes out at over 2.5 goals at 1.99. Whereas the 2.93 goals comes out at odds of 1.78. So these are odds that you would have to beat to make it, interesting. And if we just consider those La Liga goal expectancies, the 2.48 comes out at odds of 222 and the 2.72 comes out at odds of 1.96. So as you can see, those odds have really changed. Now, sportsbooks do adjust their lines, but the thing is, right, they do it much later on. So, start thinking about it as you start seeing that weather improve and you can actually see that teams are now getting into that sort of spirit of getting more goals. This is the time to sort of pound them. A change in managers is going to have an effect on results. Now, we took some data on this. We looked at the top 10 leagues from last season, and there was actually 25 mid-season appointments. Now, this is where the actual manager that was coming in was on a permanent basis, not a caretaker manager. And 20 of these managers actually took more points over the next 5 games than the previous 5 games. So that's 20 from 25. And from those, 10 of them more than doubled the points. One thing is certain, a new manager is going to bring new hope to the club. The fans are going to be buoyed. The players have got something to prove. They're going to try to get in the first team, even if they've been out for a while or been disapproved by the old manager. It's a clean slate for everyone, and that's why a new manager has such a positive effect. So if you are betting these types of games, think back to when Thomas Tuchel took over Chelsea from Frank Lampard and they went on to win the Champions League. For the purpose of betting, you might want to stay away from derby matches. Now, they're less predictable and the reasons for this are pretty obvious, right? The players are highly pumped. Now, it doesn't matter whether they're local derbies like, your Manchester United against Manchester City, Inter Milan against AC Milan, or the more traditional derbies like Real Madrid against Barcelona. We know that the players, the referees, everybody's under a little bit of pressure and they're going to be putting more in. That means, traditionally speaking, more red cards, more yellow cards, more emotions flying. So you've got to be very careful when betting in derbies. Home advantage is definitely diminished. That's one of the things. If you love a bet, fine. But I would advise staying away from derby matches as a traditional method of betting. I don't want to get sidetracked, but what I want to quickly mention is that if you want an easy way to win, get yourself Pinnacle Odds Dropper by basically being notified when the odds are falling at the sharpest sports book in the world and getting benchmark odds that you need to beat. All you've got to do then is get over to your bookmakers and place bets at inflated odds and you will win. That is called value betting at its best. Great tool, check it out. The overreaction to missing players in football betting can be badly wrong. Now, both punters and sportsbooks are guilty of forcing the market to overreact. The best method to find out their team's strength is to use the ELO rating approach. In this instance, you're going to be asking yourself, is there a quality replacement for the missing player? What about the squad depth? I mean, elite teams have better players, they have a deeper bench. And then there's the positional aspect. You know, if it's a goalkeeper, it could be a big thing. But what about a striker, a centre-back? If we did a case study, then we could take when Messi was at Barcelona. The win rate when he wasn't playing went from 73 to 67%. And what about Cristiano Ronaldo when he was playing for Real Madrid? Actually, the goals only dropped by 0.27 per game when he wasn't playing. On the other side, we've got defender Virgil van Dijk from Liverpool. During the 2020-21 season, Liverpool conceded 37% more goals when he wasn't playing. At the end of the day, sportsbooks often overcompensate for strikers, but not defenders. And the takeaway is, don't believe in all the hype. Not all missing players are created equal. Big teams can easily compensate. Smaller teams don't have any standout players in any case. And the real effect is casual sports bettors get it very wrong. Also, you want to be skeptical about teams that are playing in Europe, right? I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's the Champions League, the Europa League or the Conference League. This is obviously going to affect their performance within the league themselves. It puts an extra burden, it's an extra pressure on them. Now, if we look at Real Madrid, who recently just went through to the next round, what happened since? They drew with Osasuna and they lost to Espanyol. You've got Dortmund, who are struggling in the table in the Bundesliga themselves. What has happened to them? They actually lost to Stuttgart and lost to Bochum since. Manchester United in the Europa League, they're actually struggling in the Premiership, aren't they? They're 15th at the moment. And the next opponents, Real Sociedad, it's the same thing. Doing well in Europe, but not doing well in the league. You know, at the end of the day, player fatigue is real. And also, you've got to think, if teams are travelling away and they've got something to play for, they're going to put everything into those games, you know, those European games. Now, with the Conference League, it's probably a bit different for the top teams, but it comes to a stage where you've really got to consider what's happening, the quick turnaround, and the effect on the betting market, because that's what we're interested in. So that's a done deal. I hope you learned something from this video, and we hope that you really want to progress and become a smart bettor. I'm Tony from Betting Analyst. You're through to boot camp again. See you in the next one soon. Bye bye.